Is there anything greater than happiness? I used to think the whole purpose of life was pursuing happiness. Everyone said the path to happiness was chasing happiness and success. So I searched for the ideal life. But instead of ever feeling fulfilled, I felt more anxious. Is there more to life than being happy? And what's the difference between being happy and having meaning in life? Many psychologists define happiness as a state of comfort and ease, feeling good in the moment. The renowned psychologist Martin Seligman says, meaning comes from belonging to and serving something beyond yourself and from developing the best within you. Our culture is obsessed with happiness, but I came to see that seeking happiness and meaning is the more fulfilling path. So, how can we each live more meaningfully? While doing my philosophy in Salesian College, Seminary, I asked people and read through pages of psychology and philosophy. Bringing it all together, I found that there are what I call 3 pillars of a meaningful life. The first pillar, belonging. Belonging comes from being in relationships where you are valued for who you are intrinsically and where you value others as well. But some groups and relationships deliver a cheap form of belonging. You are valued for what you believe, for who you hate, not for who you are. True belonging springs from love. Each morning at home, I used to be at home and buy a newspaper from the same street vendor. We were not just conducting a transaction though. We used to take a moment to slow down, talk, and treat each other like humans. But one time I didn't have the right change, and the vendor said, "Don't worry about it." But I insisted on paying, so I went to the store and bought something I didn't need to make change. But when I gave the money to the vendor drew back. He was hurt. He was trying to do something kind, but I had rejected him. I think we all reject people in small ways like this. I do. I'll walk by someone I know and barely acknowledge them. I'll check my phone when someone's talking to me. These acts devalue others. They make them feel invisible and unworthy. But when you lead with love, you create a bond that lifts each of you up. The second pillar is purpose. Now, finding a purpose is not the same thing as finding the job that makes you happy. Purpose is less about what you want than about what you give. The key to purpose is using your strengths to serve others. Without something worthwhile to do, people struggle. At times, we all struggle. The third pillar is storytelling. The story you tell yourself about yourself. Creating a narrative from the events of your life brings clarity. It helps you understand how you became you. But we don't always realize that we are the authors of our stories and can change the way we are telling them. I was injured while playing basketball in Sonata. Those who tell stories like this, "My life is good, now it's bad," tend to be anxious and depressed. And that was me for a while. But with time, I started to weave a different story. And my new story was, before my injury, my life was purposeless. But my injury made me realize that I could be a better man. So, belonging, purpose, and storytelling. Those are the 3 pillars of meaning. The same principle applies in other strong communities as well. Good ones and bad ones. Gangs, cults. These are cultures of meaning that use the pillars and give people something to live and die for. But that's exactly why we as a society must offer better alternatives. We need to build these pillars within our families and our institutions to help people become their best selves. It's an ongoing process. As each day goes by, we are constantly creating our lives, adding to our story, and sometimes we can get off track. But whenever that happens to me, I remember a powerful experience I had with my father. Several months after I finished my schooling, my dad had a massive heart attack which could have killed him. He survived. And when I asked him what was going through his mind as he faced death, he said all he could think was that he wanted to live so that he could be there for my brother and me. And this gave him the will to fight for life. As he went under anesthesia for emergency surgery, instead of counting backwards from 10, he repeated our names like a mantra. He wanted our names to be the last words he spoke on earth if he died. That's the story he told himself. That's another story altogether that I lost my dad 1.5 years ago. My dad was a simple man, living a humble life, but a good life. Lying there facing death, he had a reason to live. Love. His sense of belonging within his family, his purpose as a dad, repeating our names, these, he said, are the reasons why he survived. That's the power of meaning. Happiness comes and goes, but when life is really good and when things are really bad, having meaning gives you something to hold on to. Thank you.